Welcome to another edition of the Insider Hoop Scoop. I'm Jarret Johnson, and I'm joined by the mighty Joe Yeager. Well, mighty Joe, what a difference a week makes. Because this time last week, I mean, everybody was flying high. Texas Tech is coming off that historic, 46 point victory over the Horned Frogs. Now, coming off a tough 3-point loss in Stillwater. I think everybody, you, Bradley, myself, we all kind of had similar concerns going into that game. It was a road game. Oklahoma State had been playing better. Beard was warning people. He always gives respect to the other team, but he was warning people, look, this Oklahoma State team is playing better. But bottom line is Texas Tech went out there, had an opportunity to pick up a big road win for them and to kind of show that they could play consistent basketball for a while, and they were ready to kind of take that next step. And they slipped. They fell back, 2 steps forward and a step back. And needless to say, that loss was a step back.
Yeah, I mean, inconsistency is this team's name. I mean, there's like 2 ways to look at it. First, or maybe 3 ways. First off, you beat TCU by 46. All right. Then you go to Oklahoma State and lose by 3.
Yeah.
All right. And then compare like what happened with TCU. You beat them by 46 here. You lose to them by 11 on the road. Oklahoma State, you beat them by 35 in Lubbock. You lose by 3 in Oklahoma State. I mean, is that not inconsistency in spades right there, basically?
Yeah.
These wide margins and disparities. So
I wish that I could just point to it and say, look, Tech's just really bad away from the USA. But that's not the case. They beat Louisville and New York. They beat Texas and Austin after getting down by, 17 points? And they did beat Kansas State's beating some teams. This is not a good year for Kansas State. But that's a tough team to beat, especially a tough team for a young team to go there and beat there in Manhattan. So I wish it would be simple. Well, I don't say I wish, but it'd be easier if we could say, simpler if we could say, they're just really not that good away from the USA. But that's not the case. Like you said, the only consistent thing about them is how inconsistent they've been.
Yeah, I know. It's the fortunate thing is they've been good often enough that they're probably going to make the NCAA tournament.
Yes.
I mean, they've still got work to do. I mean, they got to take care of some business, but they should be able to do that. So, I mean, there's always a chance that they can put it together at some point. And if they do, we've seen what their ceiling is. We've seen how good they can be.
Yeah.
If they can get to the point where they're playing at that level on anything like a consistent basis, then they could make a run. So, but they haven't proved that they can do that yet.
Let me ask you something. So this is where I'm at. So Tech has 6 games left, right? I'm thinking if they win 4 of those games, in whatever combination, if they win 4 of their last regular season games, I feel like they get to that 20-win mark. I feel like they're probably safely in. What do you think?
Yeah, they're definitely in. I think if they do that, in fact, you could probably go 3-3 and get to 19 and probably sneak in as well. I mean, it's funny because, they lost that game at Oklahoma State and everybody said, oh, bad loss. But it didn't really hurt Tech much in the bracketologies that are out there. I mean, you drop 1 line maybe from 6 to 5 or something like that, or 6 to 7. I think Tech has enough of a body of work that they're in pretty good shape right now. And I mean, you probably break even, you get in 4-2, and you get in probably as a solid 8 seed or something like that. So they're in pretty good shape, I think, actually.
Speaking of Kansas State, I mentioned them earlier, Joe. That's their next opponent. Kansas State is no great team this year. They're not. But then again, look, they're not terrible. They have risen up and beaten some folks. So it's just difficult for me to say, I feel really confident that Tech's going to beat them, even though it is here at the USA. I do like their chances. I expect Tech has been coached really hard since coming back from Stillwater. 8 o'clock tip-off on a Wednesday night, so they had a little bit of time to get ready for it. But it's not going to be any cakewalk. I really don't believe that. I don't think they're going to win by 40 points, let's put it that way. I think it's going to be one of those ugly defensive struggles that we see from when Chris Beard and Bruce Weber's teams face off.
Yeah, I see your point. I mean, I think Tech is going to win by a wide margin.
You do? Okay, yeah. So you disagree.
Now, yeah, but I'm not necessarily saying like 40-something or even 30-something. Because, I mean, the thing about Kansas State is they're going to bring the defense.
Yes.
And so that's going to pretty much preclude just a huge total runaway victory. But, I mean, I'm thinking at least double digits. Maybe you even win it by 20 or something like that. I think that's possible. the Tech has rebounded from these nasty losses well in the past. And again, I think that Beard is going to have these guys wired up and ready to play. And he's probably scaring them, you know, with talk about, hey, you're blowing the NCAA tournament here. You got to have this. Yeah. And, you know, being Kansas State, this is the easiest game on your schedule right now. If you, what else have you got? I mean, you got Kansas, you got Baylor, you go at Iowa State.
At Oklahoma.
At Oklahoma. Yeah.
You get Texas at home.
Sure, you get Texas at home. This and Texas are your two, like, ironclad wins. You got to have these.
Yeah, you got to win those.
Yeah, I mean, if you lose this one, then suddenly you are in a kind of a pickle, because then you say, who else can you beat?
Right.
You know? So there's going to be plenty of motivation. And with K-State, what are they playing for? Pride, which is not inconsequential, but it's not the same thing as an NCAA tournament berth.
Right.
So I think everything points toward Tech winning by a fairly handsome margin.
You know, there was a stretch when Tech was playing really well. You know, the Kentucky, Kansas, then they won like 3 games in a row.
Yeah, 4 out of 5.
And 4 out of 5 in that stretch. What was going right for them, Joe? Just we don't have to go crazy, but just what's like one of the 1 or 2 main things that you felt like Tech was doing that had them playing just really well for a stretch there?
Yeah, a couple of things. Actually, I think you can go with 3 things. One, the defense just continued to get better and better and better. All right. Now they had a setback at Oklahoma State, but during this stretch, they were improving on defense in general. Turnovers were reduced somewhat. I mean, still not tremendous, but you were getting down an average of like 9, 10, 11 turnovers per game, which is entirely acceptable.
Yeah,
that's you'll take that, particularly when you're a team that's been turning over 13, 14 a game, so which is they had been doing. So that happened as well. And then they were shooting lights out, particularly from three-point range. You know, and they maintained that pretty well against Oklahoma State, so they're still hot. But yeah, you had those 3 things cooking together right there, and when you got that from Texas Tech, then yeah, they're going to give everybody trouble and beat just about anybody.
All right, well, 8 o'clock Wednesday right here at the USA. Texas Tech looks to get back on track against Kansas State. Big game in terms of building that resume and going to the tournament. Monty Joe, great stuff from you as always. Thank you all for watching, and until next time.